Thanksgiving. The time to be thankful for all things Paprika related. We are back with the second issue of Batman The Long Halloween. We're talking our Thanksgiving episode today, our Thanksgiving issue, and I have the same three guys I had with me on the Halloween joint.
The usual group of idiots.
The usual. These is the Daryl, Dave, and these two clowns. Yes. That's what we got going on. Let's roll right on around the table and see who all's here. Who's to my left?
Brian Martin.
Brian Martin is here. And who is across from me?
Ninja Dave.
It is Ninja Dave. And to my right?
Javon Jackson, one half of those two clowns.
One half
Coming soon.
Tag team duo.
There we go.
Those two clowns. By God, clown one. Like I said, we're here to talk about Batman Long Halloween. This is a Thanksgiving episode. Question for you, Dave, and you, Brian, before we get into it. When was the last time you guys read this story in full?
I would say it's been a couple of years.
Couple of years?
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
It's definitely been a minute. It's been at least 10 years, probably.
All right. So, do you guys remember all the twists and turns, or is some of this kind of a surprise to you again?
I think I remember most of the murders. And when I was reading this issue, I was like, that's who those four guys were. That's the kind of stuff that comes back to me, like contextualizing everything again. I remember most of the twists. Yeah.
Do you remember who the holiday killer is?
I know who it wasn't.
All right, so we can rule out Batman, we can rule out Jim Gordon.
It's a bit of a loaded question there, but yes. Yeah. Yes, I do.
All right, then. And Dave, do you remember any bits and pieces?
I get bits and pieces here and there. This is, like I said, I read this a couple years back, and this is it's more like my annual original Predator film watching, where it's like I just kind of re-immerse myself in amongst old friends.
Okay. Yeah, I try to read as much of this as I can every Halloween day. Yeah.
Nice.
This is
You're in your jammies throwing back some candy corn.
throwing back some Jameson.
Some Jameson. Candy corn
have.
flavored.
Oh, man,
Jameson.
what if they put Jameson in the candy corn? You know, like those whiskey pods?
With whiskey chocolates or whatever?
No, I'm talking about the pods, like the dissolvable.
Yeah,
I've heard about those. Like just cram it into some. I mean, it's not going to sell. And nobody likes candy corn enough to justify putting any alcohol inside.
We're going to do that this Halloween.
Wow.
If by this Halloween you mean Halloween 2020, because Halloween will have already passed.
Well,
why don't you do bobbing? Why don't you bob for candy corn in Jameson?
Can I just bob for Jameson?
I remember
this man drowned in Jameson.
I literally have only bobbed for apples once in kindergarten, and even then I was like, "This is disgusting."
They don't do it anymore, man.
It's just not hygienic.
I don't know how that made it so far.
What were they thinking?
It's like cool Amano.
That's pretty much
I'm not going after them. Like,
you know what? I'll lose. I'll lose this one. So we're back to talk about the issue 2. Let's get right into it, man. We last left off issue 1 with the explosion at the home of Harvey and Gilda Dent, leaving readers wondering if the loving couple survived the blast. Obviously they did. And this issue picks up a few weeks later with Batman and Gordon interrogating the suspects. They push as hard as they can, but ultimately they don't progress. The 5 men are even charged, but they make bail in less than an hour due to having unique connections. That's my kind of Gotham right there. However, they can't escape the holiday killer, who wipes them out and leaves a cursed cornucopia at the scene of the crime.
I love the alliteration.
Yeah, you can tell their part in the story has been squashed.
They've been green bean casserole.
They got hit with the curse of the cranberry. What is that shit called?
cranberry sauce?
Cranberry sauce. Nobody likes that shit.
Cranberry sauce is actually good.
You could, if you make good cranberry sauce.
Yes, it's good, yeah.
That
It's
stuff
it's a sauce that doesn't need to go on anything. It's amazing.
it's literally only served at Thanksgiving.
Right.
So get into it. What do you guys think of this issue?
I forgot that it took place all in on the holiday, and that was it. It didn't take place in any other day in November. It's just all Thanksgiving Day, and it's all about, really at its heart, it's all about how each one of the 3 main characters
Deals with
holiday dinner
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
is ruined.
That's pretty much what it is.
Everyone's dinner in this issue is ruined. Every single
Well,
character.
Maybe not the Roman though, because he was like, my boy ain't dead.
but his sister did come in and start bitching at him while he was trying to make something that sounded delicious.
Right.
There are not a lot of dishes that I eat at Thanksgiving that incorporate sausage, and I was like, yeah, I believe in Carmine the Roman Falcone.
That is this issue's reference for The Godfather. That comes from the scene where Clemenza is teaching Mike a recipe how to cook before he goes out to eat with Kay, and it is the exact same recipe.
Yeah.
Actually, instead of adding in sausages in The Godfathers, you add in the
Gun.
meatballs.
Oh,
And then you add your gun in, you just throw it on top of the pan.
I like how Batman knew he fucked up with Solomon Grundy or whatever. He had to give a guilt plate or whatever.
yeah.
You know,
like
last
that-
time he got down, that food was cold as shit.
It's like that one uncle who's like the black sheep of the family. He's like, go get your uncle a plate.
Solomon Grundy no eat meat.
Solomon Grundy went vegan last week.
Now, I will say
Plant-based.
this. I'll throw this out there. No matter how many times I've read this series, the item that Batman pulls out of his utility belt to deal with Solomon Grundy, I don't know what the hell it is.
I read this
Did
earlier
he
today.
put something up his nose or something? Or like, was it cocaine or like?
Solomon Grundy very happy.
He just put like a thimble on there.
It
Is
doesn't look
is
like
it a
what
condom.
he's
What the hell?
reaching for. It looks like he's reaching for something specific and then pulls out something unlike.
I thought he just like got frustrated and just punched him straight in the nose or something.
No, he does. He
Because he's
punches him in the
obviously-
nose first, twice.
He's got.
He punched in the nose twice, but then he reaches into his utility bag in the next panel, if I wasn't forced to hurt him first, and it shows him jamming something like either into his nose or in like the middle of his. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I've never been
It's a
able to
glow in the
figure
dark condom, and he's got 4 of them in his pouch. If you notice, so
Just in case
clearly,
Catwoman's on the rooftop.
night.
Jermon, so this is your first time going through.
Yeah.
Which issue did you like better? You got a lot of setup in the first one.
Yeah.
You're still getting some setup in this one.
This one was a quicker read for me, you know.
Yeah.
Like it felt like it was 8 pages. Like I went right through it so fast.
I think the first issue is 48, though.
I think the first was an oversized.
extra size
Yeah.
issue. So, like I said, bathroom. Jeff Loeb writes everything with the intention of you being able to read it on the toilet, and that's a fact. It's like a quote from his. He said it before. I'm not making it up.
It was.
guys.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see Solomon Grundy coming in there. Like he's not who you would consider necessarily a Batman villain
No,
per se.
no.
Yeah, and I was
even
gonna-
though he
like a
was in the
force of
Arkham
nature.
game. Like,
I was going to ask about that. What's you guys' thoughts on Solomon Grundy as a Batman villain?
I mean, if you needed somebody for the sewer, we do have Killer Croc.
Yeah, that's what I was like,
yeah,
Killer Croc.
yeah, he
But
would have
sounded
made more
somewhere.
sense. Yeah,
But Solomon Grundy's always that X factor, though. He just pops up like
You don't
when
know-
you least expect.
you don't know what you're gonna get.
I think he
he
pops
doesn't have
up
a-
in
he-
like issue 2 of the Tom King Batman joint. I'm like, well,
People have used him as a Batman character or a
Yeah.
villain more, I feel like, since this, because before that, I don't know that he was tied to any one hero.
was-
Like, he debuted as an Alan Scott adversary
Yeah.
back in, like, the Golden Age. So, technically, Green Lantern villain?
yeah.
I don't remember the last time Green Lanterns fought Solomon Grundy. Like, I mean, Solomon Grundy's just wandering around. I think he's met Swamp Thing a couple
I
times.
wouldn't be surprised.
I kind of loved him in James Robinson's Starman series, where he was. I guess he had been reborn again, and he was like this gentle giant, kind of Lenny from of
Yeah,
Mice and Men.
Mice and Men,
Yeah.
Now tell me about Solomon Grundy, because he's actually one character that I have not delved that deeply into.
Well,
It's he's there.
born
he was
on a
born
Monday.
on a Monday. We know
Yes.
that much.
Right,
What day did he die?
I think it was Friday.
And then he's
He was
reborn.
buried
again.
on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Sunday, he stayed in bed.
Sunday, the Lord rested.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he died on the Friday though.
So is that
They go through they go through the whole thing in a later chapter of this book.
Is it in here they go through the whole
They
thing?
do. They do eventually. So
Okay, yeah.
a certain character has a run-in with him, like in chapter 9 or 10 or 11, and they go through the whole rigmarole with him.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he originated from, or is he
So
he
his name
from
his name
a
was
lore of some kind?
So
I
his
think
name
it's-
was the poem is actually traces back to like the 1900s or the 19th century.
the 1900s.
Yes, the 19th century. But the character, I mean, I don't know. His name was Cyrus Gold. He fell in a swamp. He was like a contracted laborer, and he died and came back as a zombie. I mean, that's
The
I just,
end.
I just remember, yeah, I just remember him from the Super Friends cartoon. or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
He's
Solomon
one of the-
Grundy want pants too.
Yeah, sounded like he was Cajun or something like that.
Well, it depends on what
spicy lad.
depends on what swamp you're in. This is the bayou. So in this issue, we get a little bit deeper into the dynamic that is Batman and Gordon playing, I guess, the good cop, bad cop role. I guess Dent being the gray cop. I guess what you call it,
Hey,
somewhere
Dent's
in
also like the one that's got the right idea later in, like just like. What did he want to do? Let him go and not charge him, and
there.
like
and then
then
we'll put
knowing-
the word out on the streets
Yeah,
that they were at it.
knowing they were snitches or whatever. They
Yeah.
they figured that's the only way they got out earlier.
I mean, Dent's was he a district attorney in this or assistant district attorney?
I think he was
He's
DA.
just-
He was
he's
DA.
He's DA. He's DA for a reason, man. He knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to when it deals with Gotham. And we get, I guess, this is where Chris Nolan pulled the inspiration for the Gordon fake out from
Right.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Is the Dent fake out?
That's another thing that,
story.
like, every single one of those Nolan movies had a moment in it that shouldn't have surprised me, but did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, oh, how did I get fooled by this? You know, and that's the way I felt. That was the twist in Dark Knight that I felt personally like I should have seen coming.
Yeah.
And it was because of this issue.
Yeah, I remember he pops back up as he's the passenger in the giant truck there, and I was like, oh, why did I see that coming? They paid Gary Oldman too much for half a movie.
The thing the comic does during the switch out is really super clever, and it's one of those things that works so well in sequential art. When the light goes out for a second, and that's the time when
switch
he's
'em.
walking down the hall and they switch. There's a lot of really interesting things done with sort of panel progression in this issue specifically. Well, I can talk about that later, but I just love that switch out. Like, it's a really cool moment.
What else we got going on here? What do you think about the fake death stunt there? Were you surprised by that at all?
Kind of, sort of, but that was like, I know there's, because so far there's always been kind of more than meets the eye to, what's going on in each issue and everything. And I was like, okay, there's going to be some kind of twist or something's going on here. This is,
Yeah.
yeah.
You usually see Batman in that role
Yeah.
of disguising himself into very, very, very Sherlock Holmes. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I totally, and when you do see that reveal, I was like, oh wow, I knew he was, of course that couldn't have been the end of him, but I was just like, where, and it still got me, still
Yeah,
surprised.
straight up Ethan Hunt's everybody.
Pretty much pulls the mask off. And the music
Now here's
starts
a question
playing.
for you, Jermon. Do you believe that Dent used Gilda as a human shield in that explosive blast? Like, I don't know. She's been in the
Maybe.
hospital for 3 weeks.
Maybe
Dent.
he was probably fighting with it and flipped the coin. It's just, do I use her as a shield donut? Let's flip it. See?
Somehow, in the 2 seconds of that blast, he was like, I got 1 second here. So the whole switch out, fake out business, we get Carla. Carla comes in there and she's just wilding out about everything. I love her because she's just completely fucking reckless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great character. And we see what's his name? Alberto. Alberto's just in the background, kind of observing everything and seeing what's going on because nobody cares about that guy.
My thing with gangsters, I mean, you can never have a relaxing life. You see these guys, they're living by the sword, dying by the sword, and it's always funny to me that they always take it as a surprise that hey, someone will want to retaliate against us. who would do such a thing?
Who would do such a thing? Who have we killed lately?
Hand me that towel so I can wipe this week's blood off my hands. But it's and then when it happens to someone else, it's like calm down. It's all right. But then it's different when it happens to you.
Right. I really love how they treat gangsters in hoods, I guess you would call them, in this particular story. Because and I think in this forward, in the version that I have, it's Lober Sale doing the talking. Or it's actually Mark Waid on the forward. And he's saying how no one had really used just like your common mafia. They progressed up to like your Jokers and your Banes and your Freezes and your Penguins. But I think I like Batman best when he's dealing with this kind of shit. And we get a little bit of detective work in this as well, which is something that is sorely lacking.
Which is why you need to watch the animated series, Magus.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, look,
Yes.
look. There's going to be
It
a
actually
Black
has
Friday
all of
sale
that.
somewhere. Yeah, it's all on the hard drive. I just got to get around to it, or just liberally borrow somebody's DC streaming. What else is going on in this joint? So yeah, and like Brian mentioned towards the end of this, because this it really does seem like a really quick read. Towards the end of this, you see how not just Gordon, Dent, and Batman's Thanksgiving's ruined, but all those gangsters' Thanksgivings are definitely ruined a little bit more.
Yeah, sauce of a different sort on the table.
Yeah.
Is that a phrase?
No, we were talking about cranberry sauce, but their brains are all over the table at the end.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that one.
They're all over the table.
They're all over
Definitely the Last Supper.
I see what you did there.
I see what you did there, and I marginally approve of it.
So I really love the going back to what I was talking about a second ago about the panel progressions and things. There's the great scene, the transition from the interrogation to the flashback, where the light dims, and suddenly we're following Mickey on the night that Batman came for him, and I love that.
Yeah,
that just
all the paneling
shot.
matches. It's just like it's a theme.
It's so terrific.
It's very cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's the perfect way to describe this is very incredibly cinematic. Like, I don't know if it was Loeb's idea or Sale's idea. I kind of want to give the credit to Sale on this, but yeah, it's just it's excellent the way the whole thing is transitioned from point A to point B. Let's talk about a little bit of the art up in this bad boy. Besides that transition, Brian, are there any other panels that really stick out to you?
Let's see.
For me, the very first panel of this issue, with Batman.
But Harvey
saying,
Dent is dead.
Oh, yeah.
Harvey Dent is dead.
The one that took Sale probably like 4 or 5 inkwells to fill in. Yeah.
And that shit is all black. The exception of Batman. Are there any panels that stood out to you, Javon?
Not particularly just panels. Like I said, I think in the first episode, I just love that use of color in this issue.
Yeah. There's some great color.
Very,
in there.
very muted, kind of. Very, very noirish.
Yeah, everything's kind of just like flat colors.
Yeah.
Like not a whole lot just pops and stands out. And I do believe we talked about like as this story progresses, that color kind of gets drawn out more and more. It goes from as heavily muted as it is now to shit gets on the popping towards the end there.
Yeah. I do love the whole flashback sequence and the chase is really, really dynamic. And the thing that really gets it going is this slide down the neon
hotel,
sign where it just
How
shatters
did
to
you
pieces.
How did you make that jump?
Look, when the Batman's on your ass,
Yeah.
He didn't.
Everyone's a parkour specialist.
You jump first.
Yeah, he did not look very athletic at all to where he could outrun Batman and just do all that stuff.
you it's more of less of a jump, more of a desperate scramble to get away from
Yeah,
him.
you didn't see that they had a panel in there that's missing where he like just completely lands on his ass or something.
Bust his ass.
Glass all in his
All in his hand, his ankles, his whole shit's fucked up. And I like that as soon as he lands from that slide down, he immediately goes for the gun, turns around and shoots. Batman's not even there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the shadow of the bat. And then that's what kind of leads you to fucking Born on a Monday, old Solomon Grundy. Dave, any panels stick out to you?
Well, 2 actually. I really love this panel with Gordon, his silhouette with the blinds in the background. I love a good noir with the blinds, and it even shows the detail of the glasses as in his profile there, right in there.
Yeah.
So that shines off there well. And then the other that I really took to was the scene where Carla's going batshit, and you just see Albert's glasses, his eyebrows, and the bridge of his nose.
Yeah.
He's watching all this stuff going on. He's absorbing.
I think they do that a lot. Like Alberto's glasses do
As
a
a
shot of
reflection
just
of something.
or just a shot of his glasses happens a lot throughout this.
Yeah.
I always like that.
Yeah, just so they
So much misdirection, so many seeds planted to make you think, hey, is this the holiday killer? Who's it's a perfect setup for a whodunit because everyone is a suspect. So it's visually represented that way.
Yeah.
very well.
I really also like that the panel of so Batman comes across Solomon Grundy, gives him 2 Batman-sized punch in the nose, and it
Oh,
just cuts
yeah.
to Grundy completely unimpressed and done with Batman's bullshit.
Just angry.
just angry.
on a Monday. Oh shit! Now he pissed off.
It's like that scene.
Where my glowing dark condoms at?
Kind of reminded me of that scene in Age of Ultron where Hulk and Tony are having that battle, that fight or whatever, and like he hits him that one time. He spits that tooth out. That look in his face. Is like,
Hits him with the elevator.
You done stepped in it.
he's like, you done fucked up now.
And I think we gotta really talk about the ending of this issue, and I think this might be of all the endings of issues for this story. It is my favorite ending because you got Gordon goes home. The Thanksgiving is just, I assume, cold, just left out on the table. It is wrapped up, but Barbara and
Well, the daughter,
do they have a son or a daughter?
daughter.
Well, so I've always been very fuzzy about the relationship between Barbara and Barbara.
Yeah, right.
And their son, isn't it just Jimmy? Isn't Jimmy his kid?
I think so. Think so. I think that he's mentioned in the first issue.
She was pregnant with him during year 1.
Yes.
Like the Frank Miller comic, and this takes place roughly within the same window. So
Yeah, Gordon's
Yeah, this is
family
after
tree
he's
gets
established.
very hazy depending on the medium.
It really does. Yeah. So whoever is all in the Gordon family, they've all gone to bed and ate and just left him with a bunch of cold food sitting on the table. Dent just spends his time in the hospital with Gilda, who's not doing shit. And I think Bruce has the best of the Thanksgivings. I'm pretty sure he had a nice meal with Alfred, and he was like, "Hey, let me slide a little bit of this on over to Solomon Grundy as a apology for those 2 punches in the nose I gave him."
well, I'm gonna go to the sewer.
Well, no, it's like, my bad.
We cool? Batman, yes, no.
I do love the cover for this issue. This is one of my favorite covers of the series, where there's the Solomon Grundy eating Thanksgiving dinner at a table with 2 skeletons.
Yeah, with his little handkerchief tucked in there.
I love it, and the tablecloth that kind of curls up into the bat logo at the bottom. I do love that because he doesn't look like he's happy.
Well, he had his
he got punched in the nose twice.
But he does have his napkin tucked in very nicely. For a man that lives in the sewer, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he
acting.
was in the sewer. He probably had his mouth set on some rats that night. Bring me this damn turkey. What am I going to do with this?
I think about these rats all week. I'm gonna have these rats marinating.
Got the seasoning just right.
That good Gotham water. Gross.
It's pre the water supply has been
It's pre Joker dumping something
Yeah.
in there for his toxins or whatever. So Jermon, we have come to the end of the second issue.
Yeah.
of The Long Halloween. Are you any closer? Do you have any ideas of who you think the holiday killer might be? Do you think any clues are left?
I am still clueless here. Like,
This one doesn't give you a lot.
Yeah, I
No,
don't think this
not
gives
at
you a
all.
lot. It gives you story, but it gives you no hints.
yeah, like nothing is really coming up as far as the suspect at this point.
All right, then.
Like-
So you still blank on the suspect?
Yeah, I mean, because Harvey Dent still seems way too obvious.
And everybody else is just a giant question mark. over
Yeah,
him right
yeah.
now.
I haven't nobody's really emerged as the prime suspect, or I haven't seen any motives or
Yeah.
any kind of motives that would stand out to where oh, wait a minute, this dude.
So
This is really cool to see this from Jermon's eye.
it is.
If you only knew.
It's pretty funny though is that Batman swings by the building with all the Irish mobsters in it, literally seconds before they're gunned down.
Yeah.
Like Batman, you could have solved this whole thing tonight.
Could have sold this whole thing an issue too. How do we know it's the same building?
Because it zooms in on the window and they're laughing and the you see there, he swings past.
Yep.
And then it
yeah.
kind of
In
zooms
that
in
one
slowly.
lit up window.
And they're like, hey, dinner. And then, seriously, the killer comes in right after. Hey, maybe the killer is Batman.
Oh. And we got a little bit of Ben Affleck's
Oh,
Batman we got going on here.
Zack Snyder,
This is
yeah.
Zack- I like in the final panel that the only thing in color is the little cornucopia of food there.
Oh yeah.
So no closer. Now, do you guys like mysteries of any kind where you just don't see it coming at all, or do you like a little bit of a breadcrumb of bread trail of clues to follow to try to figure out who the killer is? Would you rather try to figure it out or be completely surprised?
Honestly, I'd like to be surprised. I like to be led, and I like to be able to go back and say, okay, here's some stuff I've missed, and this makes sense. But I like to go along for the ride. I'm very big on that entertainment. So there are points where I will purposefully not try to figure things out because I want that surprise of the reveal. Because I've been in the other camp as well. I figured things out ahead of time, and that kind of lessens the
impact.
I think it's it kind of depends. I do think that the breadcrumbs have to be there because
Right,
if they're not, and there's just a reveal at the end that doesn't really hold up to scrutiny, then it kind of takes away and diminishes the experience, and it seems like lazy writing. So the breadcrumbs have to be there, but if they're not enough for you to figure it out, then that's cool. But also, if the ones I have been able to figure out things, I'm like, I figured that out, and I feel good about that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I'll also say, and this is just for these two on this side of the table, since you're reading chapter or issue by issue.
Yeah.
Some of the reason why I don't recognize those last 2 pages.
Okay.
of this yarn.
All right.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jamon, when it comes to mysteries, do you like to be surprised at the end, or you want to try to figure out beforehand?
A little of both. Especially going on the ride, I like to try to, figure out what's going on or who's, who done it or all that. But I do enjoy that surprise towards the end, like taking into account, like say Get Out, Jordan Peele's movie and everything. When that twist hits you and everything, and you can go back and see all the clues.
Yeah.
That's
when
an
you
example of one
revisit
that's
it,
like
it's
it's so
like-
fucked up that you never could have seen it
Yeah,
coming,
right.
and
But-
then you see
but
it and you're
when
like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why that happened.
Yeah.
yeah. I like that. Do you guys remember the Armageddon 2001 series that DC did?
Oh,
back
yeah,
in like
yeah.
1991 or 92.
No.
That was it ran through all the annuals that year. I think it was 91.
Yeah.
And there was bookended by like a number 1 issue and a number 2 issue. And the whole deal was that this character named Monarch was coming into the DC universe and just the ultimate villain, and his identity was sort of a big mystery. And this is before the internet, but the fan community figured out who it was and started to, there were like trade publications and things like that were talking about it, and it prompted DC to change the ending of the story. And I thought that was crummy.
Yeah.
Because
what they did, I think what they did end up revealing who he was just like, what?
Well, first, it didn't make any sense because
Yeah.
his power set didn't match, and 2, you were like, why do I care about this guy? Like
Yeah.
it was really
Was that
not
an
great.
already established villain?
No, it was an already established hero that was like a future version of a well-known hero that went bad.
All right, fucking, it's 2019. Who was it?
It was Hawk from Hawk and Dove.
Yeah.
And nobody
It was-
gave a shit.
'cause
It was
all the
supposed to be Captain Atom.
yeah.
And
which made more
and it
sense.
it made total sense. And I'm like, why did you see? I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
if
Yeah,
if your mystery wasn't strong enough and everybody figured it out, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
you're
that's
on
on
this
you.
trek now, and you've got to deliver what this narrative has promised us.
Yeah.
All right,
They,
I-
I think later on, I think it was during that 52 series, maybe something happened with Captain Atom and he gotten breached or whatever, and he puts on some kind of containment armor, and it was the Monarch armor.
They eventually turned
Yeah.
Captain Atom into Monarch like 25 years later.
Damn it, we're gonna pay this off at some point. We're gonna say
Made it right.
No. I retract said statement for possible spoilers. So anyway, we'll leave it there.
So we're 2 in. How are you liking it so far?
I've been enjoying the ride so far.
Yeah.
I really like the series. I want to definitely want to see, because I did see the cover for the next issue. You know, reading
Yeah,
through there, and I was
things
like,
are gonna get-
yeah, it's gonna pick up now. It's gonna pick up. I
Get
think it's gonna
nutty.
pick up.
This combines two of my favorite things: superheroes and whodunits. That's one of the reasons why I love Marvel's Original Sin so much, because it's who killed the Watcher. It's a whodunit. You know, who are all the possible suspects? Who could sneak up on the person who can see everything at once and you'd be able to kill them. So there's something, readers. If you haven't checked out Original Sin, check that out after Long Halloween. So that's it for this, man. Let's talk a little bit about some Thanksgiving, man. Does anybody have any good Thanksgiving stories? Like, what's your go-to plate, Javon?
Okay,
If you gotta load it up on Thanksgiving foods.
I'm mainly like turkey and stuffing. You know, that's my bread and butter, so to
Yeah.
speak. So I go there, a little bit of ham on the side.
Oh, he's a turkey and ham. That's
Yeah.
greedy bastard.
Yeah.
See, my mom goes all out.
Yeah, okay.
Because like last year, you know, I go to her place for Thanksgiving, and my sister, I guess she was providing all the food. She paid for all the food. $1,000 worth of shit there.
$1,000 worth
God.
of shit. The
Macar-
Jermon
yeah.
Jackson story.
Macaroni and cheese. What else was there? Mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
You know, my sister's boyfriend is from Smithfield, so my mom usually does like pig's feet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my.
Exotic.
Yeah, ribs. Like it was nuts. my mom
Exotic.
my mom pulls out this jar of gravy or whatever. I
You
was
bounce
like,
up in that place, you're like, I think we're underdressed for this.
I was like, Mom, what are you doing? Like jar of gravy? I can't let that slide. I had- like, give me some butter, some flour. Let me make this happen real quick.
We're gonna whip this up real
Yeah.
quick.
Nice.
So what's your go-to on your plate, Dave?
I'm a smorgasbord kind of guy. We have ours out in West Tennessee. Most of my family's out there, so it's been tradition for years where everyone brings something to the. So it's kind of like a Thanksgiving potluck, but you know there are some dedicated cooks who specialize in certain things. My daughter does the cornbread, for instance. So. I get a little bit of everything, man. I get the cranberries, the cranberry sauce. I get the turnip stuff. We have so many different kinds of meats there. It's stuffing. It's
Dave
the whole
has
bit.
the meats.
There's like a corn what do they call it? It's a corn casserole kind of thing. It's just ridiculous stuff, but it's tasty as hell. And I just heap it onto my plate. And this last Thanksgiving, I just had to push back from the table, lean my head to the side, and I was out.
Yeah.
My-
Admitted defeat.
Yeah.
My niece and nephew, like, 'cause they stayed over at my mom's, and then the day after getting up, my niece is bugging me. It's like, Uncle Jermon, make me breakfast. It's like, are you kidding me?
It's leftover city. there.
Yes, exactly. It's like
For the next 2 weeks.
breakfast is in that fridge.
I love just dumping it all into like one pot and just having like that Thanksgiving stew going.
Oh, man.
Just everything's in there.
Okay.
That's a marvelous thing.
What's I'll go for my go-to plate, man. We see the way my family breaks it up is we have all our turkey on Thanksgiving and all our ham on Christmas. That's how we.
interesting.
That was how we delineate things. I'm definitely a turkey and stuffing dude. Like those are the musts. You're talking about, Dave, about certain people in the community are in charge of certain dishes.
Sure.
My sister is the macaroni and cheese queen right now. The mantle's been passed on to my sister. The mantle's been passed on to me to stop at Food Line and pick up 2 cans of cranberry sauce. Of which
man.
of which I don't eat.
All right.
So turkey stuffing.
The stuff that comes out of the can's like I love it. It retains the shape of the can.
Also a
So instead of having you in the kitchen, they just send you on errands.
we gotta
get him out of here.
It's like that episode of the Cosby Show. Hey, Kevin.
The good thing for me is I try to work every Thanksgiving. That way, I get a bunch of overtime pay, and I don't have to just sit around and smell food being cooked all day. I get out of work, I show up, food's done. All I gotta do is just throw my shit in the microwave for 2 minutes, and I'm good to go. So I bypass all that wait and shit. That's the way it should be done. What do you put on? I saved you for last. For a reason, sir. What do you put on your plate?
So to me, it's not so much what you put on your plate; it's how many plates you obtain.
He's got Thanksgiving plates.
Get him by volume.
Thanksgiving is a quest,
It is.
and my parents live about 5 minutes from my aunt and uncle, live about 10 minutes from my wife's parents.
Okay.
So sometimes my aunt and uncle and my parents just combine and we have this mega dinner. Other times we don't. And when we don't, that's a 3-dinner night. You know, it's like you just roll up in there.
Second
I will
breakfast.
tell you that like to me, it's not Thanksgiving unless there's a fried turkey present.
You damn straight. My parents will not get on the fried turkey train.
Yeah, the mac and cheese, the sweet potato casserole must have. Any dinner item that allows us to combine copious amounts of cinnamon brown sugar and marshmallows. This is dinner. What will dessert bring? So that's a big deal. But also a big thing for me now is Dipsgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Which is the new annual holiday that I'm
Now tell me about this dips giving.
Jermon just made the table rise a couple inches higher, thinking about this. All you heard
Jermon's
back
just
there-
over there like
I've already got some of my ingredients together for Dipsgiving.
He is the heavy breathing cat meme right now.
oh my god! All right, so Dipsgiving, Dave, is like Thanksgiving, but every dish is turned into a dip, with a suitable thing to dip in it. Whether it's a chip, whether it's like last year somebody fried up potato balls and we dipped it in gravy. Like it's just
Like we like blend this stuff
It's-
and like
it's
here's
fingers.
this fare.
like it's here's the mashed potatoes and gravy, but you have to turn it into a dip.
Okay.
Here's the cornbread, but you got to turn it into a dip. You know, things like that. It's like things have to become a dip, and that's the
Dips giving.
Dipsgiving. That's it.
I the science of this is baffling to me.
I threw it out there last year as just sort of a like, well, it's shits and giggles. Let's see if this works. Because I came up with it like 4 years ago or something, and then I told my buddies about it, and I was like, finally, let's do this. We got like a large enough space to do it in. And last year, I was blown away by what people brought and how this thing turned out. I was like, this could be a total bust, but it profoundly was not.
What
Like, it
what
was
were
amazing.
some things that surprised you that had never been dipped?
So like
before?
one of my friends made a turkey dip that was kind of like a chicken dip with some like cream cheese, turkey stuff, and he had bread that he made at home, and he fashioned the bowl and the bread into a turkey. So the dip looked like a turkey.
Yeah.
Jermon's whole head just flew up his shoulders. Right
Please tell me more.
There's a,
Tell me more.
It's gonna be an ASMR channel for dips giving.
And it's just Jermon going, my God, over and over. They brought out the cornbread dip.
a lot of like.
Amazing.
There was a bourbon pecan pie dip. That was good. Oh man, there was just so much stuff. I can't even remember. I don't remember what the macaroni and cheese dip turned out like, but I remember it was interesting. Like I was impressed with the fact that they pulled it off. Yeah. So it was just like the level of inventiveness that went in, and there were people who called me day of. They were like, I don't fucking know how I'm going to do this, and like everyone delivered on it.
Nice.
So it was pretty great.
Under pressure.
I will tell you though that like as far as Thanksgiving stories go, nothing will ever beat the year that my wife and I lived in Vienna, and she was getting a master's degree, and so a bunch of her colleagues like were there with just a bunch of international people were like, fuck, let's do Thanksgiving for them, and we couldn't do it at our place because it was way too tiny. But one of our friends was like, you can use our apartment, so it's like okay, so we had to prepare a lot of the dishes the night before in our tiny kitchen, and we had a turkey that we had to special order because this is not like a usual holiday, surprise, in the middle of Austria. So we ended up making multiple trips across the city on public transit, carrying suitcases full of food, and at one point there was just a fucking turkey in a suitcase on a train being hurtled across Vienna.
and people were seeing, bystanders were saying, American.
Yeah, right.
They'll food anyway. Do you guys have any good Thanksgiving story?
Oh, see, Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday time when my family gets together, it's very combustible. Very combustible. It is not. It got to the point like my cousin, his wife at the time, she came down one year, and just kind of meeting the family for the first time, getting together, and couple of my aunts get into a fist fight. And she's like, oh my God, we're so desensitized to it. And my cousin was just sitting there the whole time. I was like, yeah.
It's not exactly Morpheus fighting Neo.
I remember one Thanksgiving.
They busted into the kitchen. Morpheus is fighting Neo.
They're like, forget it.
My aunt, one fucking hand of Uno, they get into it. One hand. They get.
You guys place bets?
It just came out of. I'm just like, you want to place bets, but at the same time, it's like these are grown ass adults. What the hell is going on?
Sometimes
Hustling and stuff.
Sometimes you need an ass whooping over an Uno.
Like it came from just one stray comment because we always have that one family member that doesn't quite do right by everybody. Just came with one stray comment. Oh, that stuffing was a little dry today. And the aunt who made it took exception to that. It's like, why would you say that is uncalled for? And then all of a sudden, and then I was like, oh shit,
I
pay-per-view.
Regret to inform you, I will not be able to make it to Dipsgiving because I'm going to Jermon's house.
See some scrapping.
Smackdown.
We'll just be in the
World
back
Star
row.
Hip Hop. World Star.
So is this a yearly occurrence? Or this is just one good brawl.
Oh no, this is a yearly like.
Can we call it thrash giving?
I didn't come home one year and
ass whooping Givens. Is what it sounded like.
Yeah, I didn't come home one year and I called my mom or whatever. And said, hey, how was the holidays? I was like, yeah, your grandma cold cock you on again. Same aunt.
Maybe it was just keep inviting her, please. Don't ever stop inviting her.
There was one Christmas or whatever. She my grandma, because my aunt was living with my grandmother at the time.
Yeah.
And my grandmother knew that my aunt was going to stir up some shit or whatever, kind of ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
So she starts just slapping the shit out of her. Now my aunt thinking that my grandma's gotten old and senile or whatever.
And grandma's sharp as a tack. Right.
Yeah, she went back upstairs, wouldn't come back down again or whatever. My grandma knew what the hell she was doing.
This is like Medea's The Long Halloween.
Oh, what about you, Dave? You got any good stories?
I could say I have good stories, but I mean, the focus is on eating and hanging out. But we also have a tradition of playing board games and like a lot of silly stuff after. So we just introduce new games. Stuff,
Don't draw that hide and seek card, man.
not the hide and seek
Don't
card.
draw that hide and seek
Yeah,
card.
we just have like the new the Uno flip. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I
have
heard
seen
about
that.
it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You have it's 2-sided cards. You're playing from one deck, and then you have some cards that trigger the flip of the deck and also the flip of the hands. So yeah, it gets
an intense
pretty.
game of Sabak.
Yeah,
Dave won the Millennium Falcon playing Uno one time.
right. But yeah, it's just gamers, I guess.
I think my favorite Thanksgiving story that I have is 2014. I got out of the military and still job hunting. I was working at Starbucks and at my favorite bar as one of their doormen. And I worked the early shift at Starbucks because I negotiated my way into an early shift because no one's in Starbucks early on Thanksgiving. They're all at home preparing their food. So I knew it was going to be nice and quiet. Got out of there and I was like, I have nothing fucking to do. And I went and ate Thanksgiving at like Bob Evans.
Oh my God!
The offense.
You should have went to Golden Corral.
And I'm just looking at my plate.
The table's gone back down now.
Welcome to the Christmas episode of the Long Halloween podcast. Jermon's not joining us anymore. He's vowed to never come back.
Never be in the presence of Daryl Mansell again. So I was just looking at this sad ass plate, and it was a sad ass plate. And I was like, this is what my life is now. This Thanksgiving by myself at Bob Evans. And I was like, at least I can go drink my woes away at my favorite bar. So I hightailed on over there, and I got me a table and sat down, ordered me a beer. And then one of the cooks came out of the kitchen. The cooks never came out of the kitchen if it wasn't to leave or smoke. The cooks did not come out of the kitchen. They didn't say hi to anybody. That wasn't a cook. One of the cooks came out of the kitchen out of nowhere and just landed a giant heaping plate of food in front of me.
Grundy.
I got
Did he punch you in the nose beforehand?
And I was like, I just looked down and I looked up at the cook and I was like, you guys had dinner for me? And this is the only sentence this cook has ever said to me in his life. And he goes, we wouldn't forget about you. And just turned around and walked away. And I was just like, oh,
comes
I
back out.
wasn't even hungry. And I ate the fuck out of that plate.
He comes back. I was like, "Fuck Bob Evans."
It's the number of plates, I'm telling you.
It's all about the number
man.
of plates. Yeah.
Quest for plates.
The quest for plates. And I think believe the quest for us ends right here, right at the 45-minute mark. Yeah. So this is going to wrap it up for the Thanksgiving joint. You guys got any last thoughts on the Thanksgiving issue of the Long Halloween?
Fuck Bob Evans.
You don't take anything else away from this.
The Roman really wanted to open several Bob Evanses in Gotham.
Somebody was like, we cannot have
He
this.
got to go.
Holiday Killers. Like we gotta.
The Bob Evans killer is struck again.
All right.
Whenever I read this specific issue of the series, I always end up hungry right at the end, seeing everyone's dinner
Everyone's
spoiled.
plate,
Like,
yeah.
Let me go get something to eat.
Whip me up a turkey sandwich real quick. You'll have this for
The
3
only
weeks.
the only other issue that makes me as hungry as this is the one with the Roman's birthday cake in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that cake looks
yeah.
powerful.
Prime for Dips Giving.
All right, guys, take it easy. We will see you next month for the Christmas episode. Hopefully, you guys have, if you're depending on when you're listening to this, a good Thanksgiving. Find some shit to be thankful for. We are all thankful for you all listening. Until then, take it easy and have a good one.